right, Marty. Um, so some fun stuff. Right off the bat, once you played the Shusaku, which is good, white came out. But white normally will play something like this to have a very steady
Yeah,
base.
yeah,
This, on the other hand, is not very steady. So the computer wanted you to immediately start attacking here because you
hmm
can see it's making white unstable. And you're building and using your influence, right? You're using your thickness. The
yeah,
point of using the Shusaku is to be very powerful, right? And this is very strong. Um, like this would be not very strong, right? It's just very stable, making a base, right? And then this also has its weakness and is not the
yeah,
strongest. Um, but it's a good move. It's moving fast, right? And it's still attacking white. So if white was to play here, you'd probably want to make a base, right? Um, but this move is just power. It's just pure powerful. And so we want to use it to fight. Um,
okay,
so in this case, especially with your handicap stones, we should be focused on fighting. If we have a handicap stone game,
yeah,
our focus should be fighting. So we want to keep that in mind. When I see this move that you did, it's kind of like you're trying to build a big area. Um, but it looks a little
See,
awkward.
I thought the Shisaku, yeah, yeah, I thought the Shisaku, I mean, I worried about it, of course. I thought the Shisaku needed another move for a base like a G17
Hmm. Yeah,
to go
this
wild
would
and extend further.
yeah, this would be fairly common to play if you were just solely trying to make a base. But even if you play here and let's say he attacks you over here or something, right? Well, you can
Mhm.
always kick and then you can drop down to make a base or just keep them split, right? Like this is good for
Mhm.
you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so the power of being able to kick here gives you kind of like a almost a solid corner, and then you're just really safe, right? And then if
Yeah.
he went like this or like somewhere around here, let's say he played something like this, now you always have the running out, right? Or you can still come out like out
Yeah.
here. Looks a little funky, but
Yeah.
the idea remains is that you can keep the attack on this
Yeah.
group and still be strong. So
Yeah.
this group is more very, very flexible and it doesn't demand a move here. It's nice to get a move here, but it doesn't demand it because it's so powerful and flexible. Um, but this move anyway doesn't feel like it's building off of this.
Mm.
So I would think that a move like this, like 3 spaces away, would be better for a 2 stone wall, right? 2 stone wall, 3 spaces.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this would be the more normal. So this was a little loose, and Kadar, thought so too, and so he immediately just was jealous of your territory and tried breaking it up. Now, what should we do when White creates these two groups? What do you think we should do?
Oh, Michael, I thought that the two stones were not that strong. So I was going to try to connect it, although, you know, I should be separating them.
Um, your instinct should kick in here now and say that this stone is weak and these
Yeah.
stones are still weak. And so we
Yeah.
shouldn't play a find and move to separate white here. This is a very common problem that happens all the time. Same with if white was to play, like, let's say between here, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to try and to connect to your opponent because when you touch your opponent, it's just going to get stronger, right? It's just going to get stronger. And now there's a very clear split.
Mhm.
And so this is very common where you'll have a nice 5 space extension and then somebody jumps in. The key to remembering the what to do here is not to trying to connect to your opponent yourself, it's usually to counterattack. It's usually to put pressure on this group. Because you can't connect, you just can't. So right here, we see the example of you trying to connect. Instead, it would have been better for you to play something like this, make your base and then attack,
Okay.
and then keep trying to split between the two. This is what the computer recommended.
Okay.
Me, I probably would have played something like this. White would be able to make a base, but then he would become under attack under this stone, right? So
Yeah.
that's something, my human brain would come up with. But the other move is this one. And once again, I said before, this looks a little funky, but now it makes a lot of sense, right? You're just
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
fundamental and basics level,
Yeah.
right? We're
Yeah.
just solely trying to stay strong and split our
Yeah.
opponent.
Yeah.
So this becomes beautiful. If he cares about this group, you can come out and then you can encase this one. And you can
Yeah.
see this result is really nice for black because white's sealed in and black has something to attack here. But yeah, so whenever somebody comes between your large extensions, it's situational, but most of the time you don't want to try and connect, because if you do, it's just going to make you get split
Okay.
up, which was exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Right? He split.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so now you're very small and you're sealed in, right? And so it's very clear white got the better result here.
Yeah.
Let's see. This one is just too large of an extension. I think you've played this a lot now, and I think you used to play this one, which I don't know if I ever complained about it. I don't think that this is bad, but the computers find that 5 space gaps are too much, so the computer really likes the 4 space jump.
Okay.
But this one,
yeah, I was trying to think about using those.
Yeah, this one looks just overextended to me in general. I think this would be the
Yeah.
more common way.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is just too overextended. So what we should try and remember, I think you mentioned like a la Dwyron, right? You it wasn't an a la Dwyron game because
No, it wasn't.
you weren't staying connected, right? You're not using the basics. So one of our basic fundamentals is to stay connected. So that's what the computer wants here. Our other basic fundamental is to keep our opponent split, right? We want to
Yeah.
use our strength. So that should come into mind as well. Okay. So far this was computer perfect. Your choice of attiring here, connecting and playing this was really, very computer liked it a lot. And I do too. It's very what do you call it? Solid, right? It's very simple and solid. I think in the past you would have played something like this, right?
Yep.
But what does this do again? What is it trying to build?
Well, I guess it's building a wall, but it's facing that white clump. So
Exactly. Which means you've learned to perceive directional play, right? You're understanding now that these stones aren't just affecting the small area, right? These stones are actually affecting the whole board. But the
I'm
problem,
trying to remember. I played him again today, and I'm trying to. I did the other thing with and I can't remember if he had a clump there or not. I'll have to look later. So
just in second,
not clear I learned anything. Okay.
Yeah. Well, at least for now, in this particular game, your mind was set.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Not
yes.
to build this wall because there's no reason to build here right now. So let's see. Just 1 second. So he played down, which was good for him. I felt like he should have done this earlier. And you played here, which is very acceptable, I think. The computer just said to give these 2 stones up. I think the whole game it was saying to give them up and play somewhere else, but I think that's not really a double-digit cube problem. I think I would have done the same move, so that's why I try and judge you on like basics, right? So I think this is fine. So this is good. This is Joseki. So we don't discuss this one too often, so I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't blame you whatsoever. This is a fine move, but for Joseki's sake and for better positioning, this is the move.
Okay.
Have we seen this before? I feel like we might have gone over it once.
I don't think that I have seen this where everyone now plays the more modern version.
Yeah, yeah, it
Um,
plays this, right?
yeah, that.
So
And so I really didn't know what to do. And I thought about it. So because what I didn't like about it was that um, he could, I just thought it would be weak. I would have a weakness, right? If he Hane down, I'd have to, what would I do?
yeah, we done. Like
So if
over here.
yeah, I mean, before, yeah.
You can play this. So out of the better exchanges, even if he gets this Atari, if you come out on the outside, you're kind of getting more out of this. Maybe you'd have to go into the bad shape, but even just getting this 3 stone, you can see
Mhm.
you hit the head of these stones, and so you're now making great shape on the outside. But
Okay.
if he comes this way, then you can still come out with good shape on the outside here. Um, but when you play this move, now this looks silly anyway, but he can just break this tiger's mouth and you have to, I guess you don't have to respond, but it's kind of like, where do you go next? Maybe here or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but the idea is that this point is really important, right? And the idea of breaking and making, because we can see that black's kind of flat here right now, right? We can see
Mhm.
black is flat.
Mhm.
But if black is able to get this move, then now black is not flat. See how much more
Yes.
extended he's
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
so that's the idea.
All right.
And this is a stronger shape with this, right? This is a stronger shape, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although to be fair, it's just very similar. But I don't think you. I mean, I guess it's okay to play this, but oh, there's a clear weakness now when white gets to poke at this.
Right.
So
Right.
it's
That's true.
it's tough. There's definitely a subtlety here that's hard to know for sure, but I know that one, this is Joseki, and two, the computer also like
Yeah.
this much more
Well,
than this one.
there's more eye space. So,
Yeah, it makes more diagonals, right? This is straight
yeah.
and this is
Yep.
eye space, so that's another good
Yeah.
observation there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's not like this comes up too often, but I just wanted to bring it up because this shape is also like ingrained in my brain here when somebody plays
Okay.
something like funky like this, you know. So white,
So here we are again.
yeah, once again, white is trying to split your group.
Yep.
And so what you want to do is you want to fight, which I think okay, so you didn't just yet. But for me, when I see this, it's very similar to the A stone that happened here, right? So my first instinct is to kind of try and split these two apart. And this move is actively
Mm.
attacking this one, and it's helping to attack this one. So if it wins something like this, you can put pressure on this group, which forces him to react. And then you can underscoop white here, which actually connects your whole group and just takes a base away from white. White gets to come out, you get to come out, and then the computer, this is the computer variation, but computer then says that this area is too big, and so now it's time to hit the weakness of these stones. And this is where the variation ends, but I'd probably jump up or come up now. Or even split, because you can still attack this group.
Yeah, yeah,
So this is one separation. The other one is that this was can get counterattacked in this area. So
yeah.
instead, it really just likes this. So essentially, you build
Yeah,
up.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It helps attack these, and
Yeah.
then you come over here to break up this whole area and
My,
counterattack
my
these.
yeah, my plan had been to strengthen the left and then, come back.
Mm, yeah, yeah, I understand,
But I
and
can
it's
see that
very
that's not necessarily great.
yeah, it's very close to what you wanted, right? Or what the computer wanted. Your idea is
Yeah,
sound, right? You wanted to strengthen this, but this can be cut, and so now
yep,
you have to worry about two groups.
yep, yep, yep.
Normally, this is fine, because normally this isn't here, this white stone.
Yes,
But
yes,
now that
yes.
this white stone's here, it actually becomes a little more dangerous for you, right? These
Yep,
stones are
yep.
in danger, and these stones are in danger. So in this case, you just need to be a little stronger. So just this would have simply worked.
Mhm.
And then the other perspective is when somebody comes into your stones, your area, your first instinct should be to try to attack it. So not to attach to it, right? Not to attach and try and connect, but to attack
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah, yeah.
In some manner,
So
you'd want to.
that down knights move, I would never think of that.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. The idea, and we talk about this a lot, it's going to be brought up in either this game or the next. But remember the whole make noise in the east to
Yes,
attack in the
yes,
west?
yes, yes.
Yeah, so if you there's a weakness that you can pry on to make yourself stronger, that's the type of technique you can use. Um, Kadar did it in the last game that you had with him actually. We can just very quickly look that up. And I'm kind of surprised it was right here, right? So he was attacking your group viciously, like you're in a lot
Yeah,
of trouble. And then
yes,
he
yes.
found a weakness of yours in another area, right,
Yeah,
to attack. And then he pressed on it twice, and you can see that he became more thick, which makes
yeah,
his attack more dangerous. But then he
yeah,
just totally lost it, and you did well. And we talked about this in the class. But
yeah.
then this premise comes up time and time again where you can prey on somebody's weakness and they'll fix it, right? You know that you won't kill them,
Yes, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
but you'll get stronger out of it. Yeah. So it's a fun little thing. The idea is that when somebody makes unreasonable jumps into your area, just remember that you should counterattack them.
Okay.
That's the common mistake that I see all the time. All right. And here it is, move 62, but anyway, we'll move on. So this is a thank you move. These are the type of insertions where you made a cutting point, but it's very easy for white to fix this cutting point. So in reality, all you did was help white fix itself, and then you lost the liberty. Does that make
I
sense?
see. Yeah, sometimes it's a good idea and sometimes it isn't.
It depends on the cutting points. That's what it depends on. I know, yeah, I know what you're saying, because
Yeah,
sometimes this is a great move, right? And it opens up all these possibilities. And then as in this
yeah,
time, it isn't, right? And so
yeah,
um yeah, that's all I can really say. If it fixes them and you can't really capitalize on it, then it's not a good idea because you just lose a liberty. It might be different
right.
if like
Okay.
white didn't have these stones here, these three stones, but you're in visible danger, right?
Yeah,
And so now losing a liberty hurts you.
yep,
Yeah, so that's
yep,
another subtlety that you can think of. So instead, the computer wanted you to help the weaker group,
yeah,
which makes sense, right? When you're in a crosscut, we want to help the weaker group. Even if
yeah,
white gets another move on you, the computers showed me this pattern, which probably wouldn't have gotten myself, so I don't expect you to, but I just wanted to show it for showing sake that sticking to the fundamentals still works, right? Helping the weaker side is better. So just playing this like this, you can see now that white is separated. Black has a lot of breathing room for now. And so white has two problems it has to fix. If white was to, let's say, try and strengthen this side, then it helps black come over here to break some shape. And there's a lot of possibilities for both players here. Maybe I would take this Atari first to stay stronger. And I wouldn't make this Atari. Instead, I would try and break this shape up because there's a cutting point here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Even if we just directly like go into this, you can see there's always a cutting point here. And so now you can see how weak this shape is and how weak this is. So would I have found this? Do I expect you to find it? Probably not. But it, once again, I just found how, I was very interested in how this looked.
Yeah.
All right. But this move is just wrong anyway. So like if you played something out here, it would have made a lot more sense to me because you're trying to separate these two.
Yeah.
Instead, this was too slow. Like this combination is fine. But this move feels too slow. Instead, leave it. And so if white takes it, now you have a diagonal shape.
Yep.
So you can just leave this weakness to get better shape. But this was too slow and heavy. So your stones are pretty heavy, I think. Although if he had to answer, which I guess he had to do, then it should be fine. But I don't know. My mind is still on splitting these apart, but you get to play the move to split them anyway, so that's good. So this is a good example of once again making noise in the east to attack in the west. So this group is still very weak. And if we touch it and like he comes out or something, then we get to also like kind of help destroy this area, right?
Yeah,
this would be pretty devastating on white. And so this move is really nice. You have a weak stone and it's next to a strong but weak group at the same time. And so we can touch the strong group, no problem. We can make the strong group stronger, or we can make the strong group weak if he doesn't answer. So that's the idea here. So the computer thought that this was how the variation would go. You get to make a good move here. White still is scared, so comes out, and then black jumps, and then makes an empty triangle, but to stay connected. And so now white is still weak here, doesn't have eyes just yet. And then black can actually still come out here later to affect these guys. So I was pretty surprised that you let him hit you on the head of two stones. What do you think this kick was about more than, what do you think?
So I felt like if I extended to A, he was going to extend anyway. And then those stones, those three stones, are just looking kind of silly. So I was hoping to strengthen myself.
Okay, yeah, I can see these stones do feel a little weak, but 1 second, sorry. But once Kadar gets to hit you on the head, it's so painful for black because right now your group doesn't have eyes, right? If white gets one more move, there's no eyes here, and so maybe one eye, there's one eye, but it's still you know, up in the air if this is gonna live or not, and this is very important.
Totally.
And so for me, I mean, my fundamentals are cemented in my head, right? My basics, they won't allow me to do much more than to come out and fix my shape, because it's just it's the move, right? It's got to be done.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know. I understand that you're trying to strengthen these stones, but these stones still can run this way,
Yeah.
this way, right? Like come out
Yeah.
and it can actually come bunker down, right? And white still doesn't have a base just yet. So you might be
Yeah.
able to get one eye here. So these stones
Yeah.
still have a lot of flexibility. And these stones, they, to me, they don't, right? Like they're getting sealed in. So let's say if white just attacked now, you know, what can you do here? Even if white just unga there's a term unga bunga, right? It's like no brain, like attacking. That's what unga bunga is. But
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah, even if white unga bungas it, like it looks like black's put in bad shape, and you
Yeah.
know, white
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
fine. White looks like it would
Yeah.
be able to handle itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so this is
Okay.
devastating here. So
See the point.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure you thought about it at least, right?
I did. Absolutely.
Okay. So thus far I would continue to work on just making good shape and like preventing bad shape. So getting hit on the head of two stones is very damaging. Um After this exchange, then I still wouldn't play. And then after this exchange, it's tough for me to say. Um I think this move is good now because he has to respond. Uh, but now you have weakness, so you had to respond, and you have to keep the cut now. So it's kind of like all your moves are forced at this point. So this is just so painful. Now, mind you, he didn't follow up
Yeah.
correctly. He should have just
Right.
double attired you. I mean, double
Yeah.
hunted, because now you're just sealed in, and
Trouble.
this is good for white, I think. Let me just double check here. Even if you can live. Just see. Again, I'm trying to figure out if you're in actual danger here, right? Obviously, if you play anywhere else, then you know white can kill you. So
Yeah. Yeah. That. Yeah. That for sure. Yeah.
3 versus 3, you'd win this fight. But white's wall looks so nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah. Yeah.
like I said, even if he doesn't seal and he can, like I said, unga bunga,
Yeah.
he can cut and just start attacking mercilessly without even
Yeah.
have to worry. So I don't know, but he messed it up. He played here, which was awful. This is a pretty big negative move, and it allowed you to come out more. So this and fix your shape. So you're okay, but this should have been more devastating than what it was. Let's see. So the whole game, actually, the computer was saying black should have played here a long time ago. And surprisingly, it's very hard for white to try and kill this group. So I think it would go something like this. This is what the computer wanted.
Yeah.
And so it, you know, it opens up this cutting point more, and you possibly make life here. So the computer really wanted you to play this. So I wanted to point that out.
Okay.
During the game, like even now, it looks very dangerous for black, right? So I could see why
Yes.
you didn't pull these stones out, but
Yeah.
the computer said you totally could have.
Yeah.
But now,
Shirley didn't know that.
yeah, now that you push through here, like looking at A and B, I think A would have been better in this case,
Yeah. Yeah.
because B just doesn't work.
Yeah, well, this was a misread. And this I was upset with myself. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah. So this is yeah. I mean, yeah. That's all you can say is a misread because I see it. Um.
Bad.
So yeah. So instead, it would have been better to come out here, right? Just work on the stones that are alive.
Yeah.
But working here, these stones are just going to be split and it's bad shape. And so it's very painful. Everything's painful here. And white got everything, right? This is what black
Yeah.
was trying to prevent a long time ago.
Yeah.
So now this is a directional play. Now's the time to come into your directional play ability. So remember how I always say, like, look at your groups and
Mm-hmm.
see if there's anything weak that you have to patch up, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could argue that none of your groups are really that weak anymore. And so now when your groups aren't weak, you look for your opponent's weak groups, right? That's what you should do. Almost every move you should be considering, am I weak anywhere? If so, then I need to defend, right? And if not weak, then I look for my opponent's weakness. So you could argue, looking at white's groups, that white doesn't have any weak groups. So now the third operation, do you remember what the third thing you should do?
I guess I should make territory.
Yeah, the idea is to make the biggest move, right?
Yeah.
You want to look for the biggest moves. So in this case, this group is alive and well. So it's not really the concern of the board. This is worth maybe 9 points, maybe 11 points, maybe less, right? If we continue down the rabbit hole, but the idea is it's worth, close to 9 points. Whereas an attachment out here could be worth much more than 9 points. So the computer really wanted you, this was the next biggest move.
Yes.
No matter what white does, you'll be able to build off of this to make some extra
Mhm.
points.
Mhm.
And so this was just a bit small. And so, yeah, I wrote, the top corner is already alive. There's more fertile land to be taking on this side, right?
Yeah.
This is the land that hasn't been tilled
Yes.
yet. So
Yes.
yeah, so try and keep that in mind whenever there's a lull in the fighting, right? Because this whole time here, this is the running battle, right? Running battle,
Right.
fighting,
Right.
making shape, running battle, fighting, and then finally you hit that lull where everything's kind of safe and you don't have to worry too much. So now is the time to look for any other weak groups you have,
Yes.
any
Yes.
weak groups he has, and if there's none that you can find, then you look for the biggest move you can, right?
Yeah.
You want to take as much territory as possible. So we'll just keep going. This move was really bad. You know what I say about
So,
moves that you don't
yeah.
need
So,
to
but
play.
wait, but if I put him in Atari and then he answers, don't I have to answer? I mean, I have to do something about that cut anyway.
Yeah, but you don't have this here. So you
Right.
have a free move to take a more territory,
I
right?
see.
You can make
I see.
more
I see.
points.
I see. Okay. It's
Yeah,
it's it's bad because it's the wrong place. It's not bad because it's bad.
It's bad because it's wrong timing. That's what it is. So
Don't answer that.
yeah. So
Okay. Okay.
so right now you don't have any danger, right? White made a move that doesn't really affect you
Hmm.
whatsoever. So now you can take all the Sente moves, right? Like this, he has to answer. So
Yes.
you just took away a point from him and gained a point for you. This you
Okay.
could answer. Now you're just taking away a bunch of his points, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's losing like 5-6 points,
Yeah.
maybe more. Anything that you can play to keep yourself building and
Yeah.
gaining points while he's losing. But
Yeah.
this move here, you didn't have to play right now, and
Right.
so it's
Now I understand. No,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. It's okay.
Yeah. So it's,
I thought
yeah.
I thought I had two choices. That was Atari or not Atari.
Yes, yes. Yeah. This is hyper focusing on his moves, right? Like you're always responding to what he's doing no
Yep.
matter what.
Yep. Yep.
This is a bad
Yep.
habit that
Yep.
people get into. The idea is that if he plays a move that you don't have to answer, then you can Tanuki
Mm-hmm.
and find a better move. And then if you find the moves that he does have to answer, he's constantly losing,
Yep.
right? You're constantly winning. You're just winning,
Yep.
winning points constantly.
Yes. Yes.
And that's something we touched on a little bit, but I don't really go too much on endgame theory. It's not my strongest point, but of course I mastered the basics. The basics is to find moves that he has to react to, and so you
Yep.
keep Sente. And so every time that you play a move that he's reacting to and losing points and you get Sente, you're winning in the end game. And my teacher, Will, he's a 4-dan when I first met him. He would be able to get like 20 points in the end game. Like 20 points is huge swings. And he was so good
Yeah.
at the end game, he would be able to get that 20 points, like no problem. So the end game is no joke. There's so much you can do in the end game to make lots of points. And you have to find the Sente moves. That's the key. But this is very Gote, right? This is very bad. It's hitting the pass button.
Yes. Yes. I understand.
Yeah. And then finally it was this part. This was
Oh,
like the last big turning point, right?
kill me.
So if I remember right, I had to look at this a lot, like a real lot, because it's a lot of
I
reading, right?
Yeah.
But what I found is that instead of taking this, if
Yeah.
you Atari'd here, then he has to answer. And now when you take this, all your group is protected and safe. You have a lot more liberties now, right? And that's the problem that
Yeah. Yeah.
happened. You didn't have enough liberties. And he was able to kill this group before you could kill his group. So it was a capture race.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
killed you and he won.
Yeah. You know what? Can we back up just a little bit at the top? Way more. I want to get rid of those 5 stones on
just 1 second. I see a mosquito and I want to kill it
at the top. So oh, sorry. Go for it.
I got it. All right, cool. All right. So let's see.
Like the the O18, the N. A little more, please. Okay. So I didn't realize the danger of this. That's it.
Yeah. No, I understand. You have blood. You had blood on your mind. Right? You could smell the blood in the water, right? White is looking pretty fragile.
Yeah, I
And
thought
so
I had him, honest to God.
yeah, and I think you did. Like I said,
I
I
did
think you
have
just
him.
needed this. You just needed this. And
Yeah. Of course, now
even
we're in BO.
yeah. Oh, we got cut here a little.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I see. So even I could have done something else. Michael.
Yeah, this connection would have been really nice.
Yeah.
Just staying strong, right? Just staying strong is always a good theme when it comes to fighting.
Yeah.
Let me just see one more thing. I just noticed this now.
Okay. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
I just noticed
what?
this now. Yeah. He played here and then you could have just killed him. Yeah. I missed it too.
Too funny.
Yeah.
Too funny. Are you kidding me?
I didn't. Yeah, you could still take them
Oh,
now.
shoot me. Oh,
Yeah,
shoot me.
yeah. Even now, how did we both miss this? That's incredible. So for like 4 moves, you could have just killed them. One,
Oh,
I'm
that's
sorry,
terrible.
2, 3, and 4. Yeah, you could have killed
Yeah.
them 4 times.
Oh my
Um,
God.
all right. Well, this is a misread for both of us. Even myself, I was
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah.
like
Well, I'm him. So
yeah, yeah. All right. So very important stuff. When you have handicap stones, one, you should use them to fight anyway. Like this is definitely a builder's mindset of you trying to build stuff, but you have handicap stones, so you should shift your mode to be more aggressive. That's my
yeah.
tip to you when it comes to handicap games.
Okay.
The second thing, Shusaku is very strong, so you can use it to attack anyway, even if it wasn't a handicap game. Or you could just make a simple base. But when you're making a base, consider this a 2-stone wall. So the most you should go is 3 spaces. This is very
Okay.
solid now. Other than that, too, this is a very flexible thing because you always have this kick for the corner or the jump to the side, or you can jump out. But that's the idea. So the Shusaku diagonal is very
Okay.
flexible. The other thing that I want you to take away from this is, because this happens often, it happened to you twice in the game, and it
Yes.
happens
Yeah. Yeah.
often in general, is that when somebody goes into your large extensions, don't try and sneak under him to connect, because that's not, or touch him, right? Because that's not going to work. So instead, your first instinct should be to separate and attack. So just take a deep breath, tell yourself that these two groups have been separated and you just have to deal with that. And now I'm going to fight because he's between my two groups. So I should have the advantage in the fight. That's what you got to tell yourself mentally. And I know it's frustrating to get separated. So there's probably like a strain or a weight on you when somebody plays a move like this. I don't know if that's how you feel, but I can understand that
Yeah.
sentiment.
It's
If
hard
that's
to know. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to know. Like, yeah. I mean, I was surprised. Like, he's so jealous of my space, right? I mean,
yeah.
so
Yeah, he was. And with his jealousy, this allows you to separate him and you can get a good attack on both.
yeah.
But yeah, so those are the two games, two things I kind of want you to take from this game mainly is that, when you have handicap stones, you want to make the whole game kind of about fighting more than anything. And then the other thing is when somebody goes into your stones that are extended, you want to focus more on attacking than connecting. Because if you touch this weak stone's going to get stronger as it did,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Keeping in connections is always good. This is the other fundamental, right? Just keeping your stones strong and connected is always a good idea. I don't think you had too much of a problem with that in this game. You did get separated here, so it did kind of happen twice where you should have just stayed strong and connected.
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
happened twice where he jumped into like big areas of yours.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
you got to shift your mind to, I need to fight this guy, right? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that was mainly it. All right, so this
Okay.
was the tough game. This was the one where we took 50 minutes on because
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was it's a lot of hard lessons to learn. It was a tough one. This one I think is easier. Still a lot of things to talk about, but I think it's just easier in general. To me, it looked like this whole game was just about shape and Tetsuji.